An old school method to reinforce your nails for playing the guitar is to use ping pong balls, and I've been doing it for over 20 years. And I've got to the stage today where one was coming loose, and so I thought I'd show you how I put a new one on. Here's an ex ping pong ball nail. Essentially it was on my index finger and it was coming away at the edges, and when you feel that happen, I can use this thumbnail here and you just kind of slip it between the ping pong ball and your real nail and it comes off pretty effortlessly. Then you need to make sure that your nail is super clean, and I've washed my hand already, so there's no grime underneath the nail and all around there. You don't want any of that because the glue won't bond tightly with the ping pong ball and your real nail. So the equipment you need for this operation is a ping pong ball. I use Steiger 3-star, and you can get the 2-star, they're pretty good as well. 3-star material is slightly thicker, and so the tone is a little warmer. So here's an ex ping pong ball, and you need some glue. I use Loctite, maximum precision Loctite super glue, and some cuticle scissors. This is my touring nail box. Cuticle scissors are really good. They've got a little curve on the ends, and so that helps when you're cutting the shape of the nail. You need some clippers and larger nail file like this. I buy these nail files from Germany. There's a shop called Rewe who sell brilliant nail files. So every time I go over I might buy half a dozen, and that will see me through for the rest of the year. And then some fine sandpaper too. So first thing you need to do is cut a piece out of a ping pong ball. Something like that. Okay. The next stage is to cut the kind of, the shape of the nail there at the tip of your finger, and each tip has got a different size, as you'll grow to learn if you adopt this technique. I have to say that using ping pong balls isn't for everyone. Some people have a problem with the glue. Right then, so that's an index finger shape, I hope. Yeah, that's pretty good. So after that, I like to file these little sharp ends just a smidge, because when you stick it on, you don't want those spiky bits sticking into your skin. And as I said, these last for me for like 5 or 6 days, so you don't want 5 or 6 days of pain. And so yeah, so that's that. Next step, it's time for the Loctite. You have to be very careful with this. Sometimes you can get there's a gel, a Loctite gel, and I don't like that one so much. It doesn't work for me, but other people love it. There's also the super glue that comes with a brush that is really good. So that's that. You can't hang around for too long, but essentially I've got a thin smearing of super glue around that rim, and then from the left hand side around you make sure that that's fitting pretty snugly. You don't want to push it in too tight, because that will be painful. After you've held it for whatever, 5 seconds, something like that, it'll be looking something like that. All right. So yeah, it's this part here that you want to make sure is tucked in. That's the part that makes contact first with the guitar string. Next stage is to use the clippers. We need to just wait a little while, and if I'm backstage, I might just do something else while I'm waiting, like maybe change a few strings, take a few strings off the guitar, something like that, or something really rock and roll like iron my shirt. Okay, I usually work from this side and clip around to from right to left. And you want to leave a little sticking out so you can start filing. starting to look like a nail shape for playing the guitar. Next part, thick nail file. I don't know what grit that is. Maybe it's something like 120 grit, 200 grit, something like that. Maybe a little finer even. And this isn't how I normally file my nails, it's just to get a rough shape. It's already looking pretty tidy. So we're at that stage at the moment. Right, the next part is pretty important. I go from the shaping side to the actual, nail, going into more detail here. I'm not quite sure what grit this is. Standard nail file grit. I'm guessing it's about 1,000, maybe slightly less, 800. And this is where you start to shape the nails in a particular direction, which is from the outside into the middle. And you do that on both sides there. So you kind of go from here over to the middle, and the same from the other side. And not only do I do it that way, but I also file it at a 45-degree angle this way too. So that actually affects the sound, believe it or not. Sometimes I find that when you're playing, and it might sound a little thin, it's because there's something happening around there, even on the top of the nail. And I find that if I file it on the top, around the back end of the nail, as it were, then that actually warms up the sound. But everyone's nails and shapes are different, so perhaps that's something specific to me, I don't know. Right, after that stage, you're on to the super fine sandpaper. Now this looks pretty battered, but it's still going great. I get this stuff from a friend of mine who has a car body spray repair shop a couple of villages down the way, and he's kindly gives me some huge sheets like that I cut up into pieces. A nice little trick is to actually fold the sandpaper, which is 2000 grade, around the nail file to start off with, and you really need to buff it up. It's pretty crucial to the sound, like a violinist using rosin for their bow. This is key to the sound, for my sound. And after I've used that, it's just a case of it's a pretty laborious task, just sitting there for ages, making sure it sounds super round and smooth, and that's it, So that's my preferred method. Other people go to the beauty salon, which, you can get a pretty good sound from those nails too, but in my experience, when I was, in my late teens one time, I did adopt that method, and I was playing a concert up in the northeast somewhere, and during sound check I broke a nail, and I tell you, it's pretty difficult trying to find a beauty salon at about 6:30 at night who will serve a guy wanting just the one nail done. And other people, they actually cut their own toenails and keep those clippings in a tin and reinforce their fingernails with those. But I find the ping pong balls work pretty well for me. So that's about it. Hope that's useful for you. And see you next time.